how do they breathe underwater?
With the bottom fin.
Oh, the bottom fin.
A little Spider-Man on the rock.
Spider-Man in the fish tank. Look at him go, get him. Get him, you will never get him. Yeah, we like it. We like it a lot. Okay guys, welcome back to MD Fish Tanks. I'm MD and these are my fish tanks. So a couple of videos ago, I showed you a full tour of my whole studio, but in this video, we're going to take a look at all the tanks inside the house. So let's go and take a look. So you guys might remember that we set this tank up about 3 weeks ago now. It's the stream tank and it's doing really well. Everything's progressing nicely. In fact, it's probably a bit overgrown. So first thing I'm going to do is give it a nice trim and clean. That's done and dusted with. Look, so as you can see, the growth since we've set it up now has been really good. I'm really happy with how it's going, really progressing good. We went through some bad stages, I'm not gonna lie. I went through like a bacterial bloom with all that white sort of sludgy stuff, but as you can see on the surface now, look, that is completely gone. Also, I had a bit of an algae bloom, so you can see, it actually looks really natural and nice, doesn't it? But the rocks have got a bit of algae on. It's starting to clear up now with the snails. But also what I did to the light, look, I had added these black strips to some of the LEDs. I did do more than this initially, but then I found that there wasn't enough light. So it's just finding that balance by putting some on, some off. That's just black electrical tape just laid across. It just works a treat. And hello, oh, hello there. Someone's ready for some food, I guess. I'm not gonna try and feed him now while I've got the camera because I know what'll happen. I'll just split a ton in there, but yeah. Mr. Redbeard. Doing well. Anyone saying that he's got too much flow in here is talking nonsense, because as you can see, look, the plants are only just waving slightly. So yeah, this tank is possibly one of my favorite tanks to date, and I know that sounds silly given some of the tanks I've got, but I just love how natural it looks. Excuse what's on the side, but have a look from the distance. It's my mum's birthday, so we've got some cards and some chocolate and some cleaner, because no, that's not for her, that's from what I just did, but look, just look at it. It looks so good from a distance. So I'm back at my dining room table here, look, and that's how it just looks sat there on the side. I think that looks great. I don't know about you. I really want to do more stuff like this, more sort of biotopy stuff, you know, in the new studio. I'm thinking about doing a really cool big Amazon style river. Like, I think that would be really cool. Because this is kind of rivery, isn't it? Like, you can imagine water flowing that way or that way, and this being the sort of riverbank with sort of plants and that growing at the side. I don't know what I'm doing with my hand here. But yeah, I think that looks great. Hopefully you guys like it as well. So I don't know if you noticed, but on this side here, we had all this limnophilia was just going nuts. What you often find is that the first stems of limnophilia do grow a huge amount, really fast and quite leggy, but then you trim it back like I've done then and start replanting, and it starts to sort of thicken itself out, and it grows as a group rather than these sort of offshoots. So you just come back regularly and trim it. I decided to leave that side because A, it's hiding the filter quite nicely, and B, I quite like the sort of raw look of it. It just looks really natural, and I know how quick that limnophilia will grow. It will grow super quick back in its place. So yeah, that's a little update on this tank. So it was really good. 30 centimeter, 30 centimeter, 30 centimeter. That's the Pled 510 from All Pond Solutions at the top. Really nice little setup, and the whole tank was built to me by RJS Custom Aquariums. You can find them on Instagram. Really, really cool tank. Love this. Right boys, I know you're doing your Lego, but guess what? It's now time to show all of my subscribers the discus tank. Do you want to come in and have a look with me? I've got some questions as well for you, yeah? Yeah. Oh, it's dark, it's dark. Should we put the light on? There we go, there's the light. So I've got some questions to ask you guys that I think will be funny. So look, first one here says, how do the fish breathe underwater? Why don't you tell all the subscribers how the fish breathe underwater?
Well, all the way up there, because they have a tail.
They have a tail? What,
Yeah.
so they can breathe underwater with their tail?
Oh no, because they have special brains, so they can
Special brains?
Yeah, and then so they can talk underwater.
So they can talk?
Yeah, because they're fish.
Doodles, how do they breathe underwater?
With the bottom fin.
Oh, the bottom fin, that's the breathing bit. Okay, well that's good, yeah. It's actually gills. They've got little slits at the side here that the water goes through, and they pull oxygen out of the water. Right, so what does this box under here do, Jacob?
It gets water
Yeah.
to make the tank nice and clean.
That's right, yeah, that's right. That's the filter. Well done.
Put these ones down.
You put those ones down. What is it?
Marshall one.
Marshall one.
Yeah, taste one. Ruin.
Okay, you can play with that if you want. Right, Henry, Jacob, do you like the plants in the fish tank?
I go like rocks.
You like the rocks?
Yeah, because my favorite is the plant.
Which plant?
This one.
That specific one. What would you put in this fish tank if it was up to you for decoration?
I think I would like to put a little Spider-Man.
Spider-Man in the fish tank.
Yes.
Do you remember that big boat we saw? Would you like a big boat in it?
Yeah.
That would be cool, wouldn't it? Doodles, would you like a big boat?
Yeah, I would a massive one.
Yeah, that'd be cool. In the new studio, guys, shall I do one tank that's for you two to pick all the fish, and you can pick all the stuff that goes in it and all the decorations as well? Should we do that? And we'll go to the shop like we did before and we can pick it all out, yeah? That'd be good?
Yeah. And what type of fish would you like to have? Little fish.
Little.
What? You like the cardinals? Yeah. I would like to have the glass fish.
Oh, glass fish. That's, yeah, Daddy's never had those, so that might be quite good.
That is definitely one tank.
Okay, well, I'm going to take a closer look at this tank with the subscribers now, but thanks for your input, guys. Thanks for answering the questions. Thank you, Doodles. Oh, dear. Right, so let's just talk about this tank for a second, because it is probably the most successful tank I've had, because it's just spotless in terms of algae and that sort of thing. And also, any plant I put in here just grows brilliantly. And you can see those rummy nose tetras there. It's cooling really nicely. Exactly what I wanted to do when I added them to this tank. They're all settled in there. Look how red their noses are. The red in their nose is actually a sign that they're really, really healthy. So they're quite good for a little beacon, if you like, to let you know that something's off. If their noses are just sort of not red, apart from when you turn the lights on in the morning, they're never red then, but if their noses stop being so red, you know that there's something up in the water. Never has been the case, but you know, it's good to know that's there. But so I've put in this trident fern here from another setup. Hang on, let me get focus. And this one, and you can see it doesn't look all that great. I put it in there because I know I use this tank to sort of repair plants as well. This Anubias here and this petite sort of version was looking really rough when I put it in, but look at it now. So I can take that out either if I want to and put it in a new setup, or I can just keep it as it is. I mean, it does look good to be fair, so I probably will just leave it, but eventually it'll grow off extra shoots and I can then sort of trim those off and use those in other setups. So it wasn't that long ago I did a video of me sort of sorting this whole thing out, but it grows so fast. And yes, it has got CO2. I'll show you to the side here. So we're operating at like, oh, what's that like? It's less than a bubble a second really, isn't it? It's barely anything. So this is the Tropica system. I'm not sure I've got enough light on to show you inside, but this is just this tiny little one here with a little solenoid, get it right, tiny little solenoid from Amazon, and it just flicks it on and off over so that it's not running at night. But with that amount of CO2 in there, that could actually run overnight and it wouldn't affect the water, it wouldn't be dangerous at all, but it would waste CO2 in my opinion, so I just turn it off at night so that we can keep it going. And that little bottle lasts me for like just over a month, so that's pretty good going, isn't it, really, to get a look like that. I mean, to be fair, this tank would look great without the CO2. The CO2 just seems to speed up the growth process, not necessarily change the quality of the plants. We're gonna need to trim again soon, aren't we? But look at this. Look at this Thalassoneria nana. Who's your nana? All the way, look. It's going all the way. I love that. It looks really cool though. When you're sat here at night, which I'm not often sat here at night, to be fair, but if I sit back, look. If I'm sat back here, turn the brightness down a little bit to what it's actually looking like. If I'm sat back here at night, that's looking lovely, isn't it? Look at the schooling. Look at that schooling. They all avoid the discus, which is weird because the discus never go for them, but I think it's just sort of normal behaviour. Looking good though. So yeah, that's that tank. It's going to need a nice big trim up again soon. Really a big one, to be fair. I want to trim it right back, get it even more dense, but yeah, I'm really impressed with how this is going. It's my best plant going. It's my best look, I think. Look at him go. Get him. Get him. You will never get him. See, a Siamese algae eater like that, which is really, he's a good worker. You don't see any sort of thread algae or anything in this tank. He is quick, yeah? But he can never, ever catch the rummies. That's how good the rummies are. He'll never catch them. They're way too quick for him. He's been trying since I put him in. Never been successful. Never mind. Yes, that's that tank. On to the next one.
So let's talk till we drop or till we get kicked out. Let's just say what we want. Come on, spit it out.
Right, so a lot has changed in this aquarium since we set it up now. For a start, the biggest change we've made so far, new light. So this light is from Twinstar and it's absolutely brilliant. I'm not gonna lie. You know, I'm all for using the budget lighting as I've shown you guys. And the budget lighting is kind of an imitation of this. It's doing a weird thing with the lighting. Hang on, let me just adjust something. There we go. Look, that's what it actually looks like. Yeah, it's such high quality. Like, it's got this metal finish here. It's all solid, you know. This is the real deal. It's also got dimmer switch on it, so I can set it to whatever lighting levels I want. And what I done when I set it up was I actually reduced the light quite a bit. And as you can see, all the algae is starting to die off, which shows that we're at a good level now because the plants are growing great, except for this Hetonia, I think it's called. Some of that started to die off, and that's obviously where the light was reduced. It was set lower than this, and I set it lower to get rid of some of the algae. And as you can see, look, on this Cryptocorini parva, you can see, look, that algae is now died, and that will eventually be picked off by the fish. Probably not these fish, to be fair, because they're blind and stupid. They are great as well, don't get me wrong. La 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 la. This way and that way. There's normally one that hangs out inside the cave. They all do eventually. Oh, sorry. I'm not ignoring you, my friend. My helpful little friend, but yeah. So everything's doing great. The moss is growing lovely, look. Really like that moss. But the whole tank as a whole was brilliant. I planted all these extra plants at the back. These came from the Pebble Aquascape. So I broke that one down. I had all these plants, and I just put them in here initially as a place to store them in. And this was before I had the plant storage tanks that I've got out in the studio now. But I just stuck them in here, And I was like, oh, they'll do for a time being, especially with that new light, they'll grow nice. And then I was like, wow, that looks brilliant. So I wanted to keep them like this. And that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm just quickly now gonna give these a trim now, because you can see they're growing out the top. So let's get that sorted quickly. Right, so that's all of that taken care of. I mean, all the stems there look trimmed back nice and neat. They'll be growing up at the top in no time, but that's looking fantastic, I think. And that's that tank sorted for now. Let me know below which has been your favorite tank so far, but hang on. We've got one more tank still to look at. This is the Curve Aquarium from All Pond Solutions. It's a really cool little one. My wife and my mum actually really like this one because it suits the decor in the kitchen because it's white. Initially I did have a few guppies in here, but we had a bit of a problem with the pea puffer tank in the studio, so I transferred 2 of the pea puffers to here, and they are still here, believe it or not. They're doing really well in this tank. One thing I've noticed with pea puffers though, you don't see them very often. So again, it seems to be a theme here with puffers, is that they're not often seen, but they are in here. They're doing very well. I've actually only fed them 3 times in like the whole month or so that they've been in here. And that's because there's such an abundance of snails in here that they haven't been needed to be fed. But I'd like to feed them for you, but I don't think there's any need. But look at that moss, it's doing really well. I'll cut to a clip. There's one. Did you just see him go across the back there? Where's he gone? Anyway, yeah, so when I set this up, this was just a tiny little rock you can see down the bottom there, wrapped in the Riccia moss. Well, it's growing brilliantly, and it's only a tiny little light, to be fair, in there. It's looking bright at the moment on the screen because everything else around it is sort of dark, so it amplifies the light areas as part of the sort of what the camera does. But yeah. It'd be cool if we could see the puffers, guys. Oh, he's just peeking. He's peeking. There he is. Show everyone how plump you are. He knows we're here. There's 2 in there, remember? But there's one of them's got like more sort of harsh markings, and the other one's got softer markings. This is the softer one by the looks of it. He's come over to have a little peek, which is quite nice, to be fair. He knows we're here, for sure. Look at him looking at us. Yeah, so overall, I'm happy for these guys just to stay in here, just a couple of little, real slow growing plants here, like the Riccia moss, which isn't a moss, but I call it a moss because it behaves like a moss. And look at this, because of the low light, this Java moss is growing straight up because it's trying to get towards the light. It actually looks quite interesting. He's really coming out now, isn't he? Yeah, that's that tank. Not really a lot to talk about. It's not one that changed. It's just more of a decorative piece because you can see from back here. Looks really good on the side, doesn't it? Yeah, we like it. We like it a lot. Okay, everyone, I hope you've enjoyed this video. So yeah, quite a long one, but I think it was quite fun anyway. But if you did enjoy it, click the subscribe button, like button, all that stuff. You know what to do. I don't know why I'm telling you how to use YouTube. You know how to use it by now. But yeah, stick around if you enjoy this. Cheers.